So Coffezilla did a video that he's doing really cool investigative work, number one. But I think he's somebody who works with the Nelk group that I'm not totally familiar with, but he makes these extremely expensive videos where he spends a boatload of money and gives some of it away. And when you do the math, 4 million views, how much he's giving away. I mean, I could do the math. I go, this doesn't add up. Like, this person is coming in with money or losing it at a rate that is not sustainable. And so we started to dig into how he's doing it. It's a really interesting video. It's going to be a 6-part series.
You're talking about the Nelk.
Sorry, yeah.
I thought you were saying Coffezilla gave money. I was so confused. I thought you were saying Coffezilla gives money away at an unsustainable rate.
One of the guys, SteveWillDoIt is I think his name. Or
Got it. So
like
Coffezilla investigated a guy where the math doesn't add up.
And
now I'm with you.
So he goes into it, and he does really hardcore investigative stuff, trying to figure out where it's coming from. And essentially, he traces it, I think, accurately, and we'll find out in the other parts, to recommending casino gambling websites that are completely offshore, totally unregulated, and getting a cut of the losses. Now, technically, it's not a cut of the losses. It's a cut of the amount that his people play dependent on the house edge in any given game, which is essentially, when you zoom out, a cut of the losses.
Well, of course. I mean, if a casino is paying you, you're being paid off of the losses.
But I mean, here's what I'm saying that makes it the losses. Each game has a different edge.
Sure.
Depending on what game they get, he gets paid more. Which is to say, like, dude, we're paying you because they're losing.
Yes.
It's not just bringing people inside and maybe they'll get a drink or hang out. No, it's like how much money multiplied by how likely they are to lose. Mm-hmm. That's what we pay you. So yeah, it's essentially a cut of the losses. And the other thing, and Lord knows, I'm not what other shenanigans will turn up in parts, whatever, 2 through 6. But it was just interesting that this guy, the impression that I get from him, he's like a mini Gronk. He like does like beer drinking challenges, and like, not that Gronk does beer drinking, but he's just like a goofy,
just a bro.
Silly bro. And when I look at him, I don't see a criminal mastermind, or I see someone who has like literally the thought of, is this right? I don't think passed through his brain at any moment doing this. And just occurred to me, like, because there's all this YouTuber, we've been talking about it, and I hate it. This crypto bullshit, like cryptos, like NFTs, the way that influencers are doing it is so morally disturbing that there's not a thought of like, well, what am I promoting and what is the likely outcome of this and how am I enriching myself? That there's not a single question of is this a good thing to put into the world? I'm not, I don't know what the word is. Not surprised. It's a bummer that how pervasive that lack of moral thought is.
And what you're saying, which I don't disagree with, is people are trusting this recommendation and they're not sophisticated, informed
My suspicion,
buyers. But what I'm saying is if you did a shout out that said, hey, these casinos are super fun.
Yeah.
There's a house edge. Obviously, that's how every casino works. So you're likely to lose, but it's fun and some people make millions. That's just casinos. That's casinos that have existed for 1,000 years. So is your issue with the fact that his messaging of it? Because for instance, I wouldn't mind if I went to Vegas, came back, was like, I had a great time at the Wynn. It was sick. I made $1,000. Most people are going to lose money, but if you don't mind losing a couple $1,000, the Wynn was a great time. Mm-hmm. Like, you wouldn't say that's an unethical thing to say. Even if the Wynn was giving me a cutback, if I said, yo, go to the Wynn, use my code, I get a percentage of the losses, you're probably going to lose. But hey, by the way, you could make $1 million. I don't think you'd say that's unethical either. So
I think it's a couple of things. I think if you're selling cigarettes, if you're selling vices to people and without things that for a large amount of the people, and I don't know if it needs to be majority or whatnot, wind up being destructive to their life based then, and also if you're exempting yourself from that destructive tendency, because like, I lost 10 grand at the casino, so fun and funny. It's like, no, you didn't. You lost 10 at the table and made 100 for the sponsorship. Like, you made 90 grand at the casino. Nobody else in your audience has that opportunity. So it's 1, pushing a vice. 2, like you said, misrepresenting with the enthusiasm what it is. Like, if he was actually losing 10 grand at these casinos and not getting paid, I don't think that he would be as enthusiastic about it as he is. So it's like, you're getting paid to present this as something that it's not, and your attitude is reflective in a way that is incredibly destructive. Like, I am paid to say that Audible is a really cool thing, and otherwise I wouldn't dedicate a minute at the end of my videos to talking about Audible. But I think that Audible is a good thing for people to have, and I think that their lives are improved when they spend or are very likely to be improved in a small way when they spend $15 a month and get an Audible credit.
Sure.
So it's the Vice thing, it's the representation, it's the how he represents it. And then I'm not sure about this one. I'd have to check. I'm not certain if you need to really be 18 or older for these offshore gambling sites. And I imagine that they're not going for like channels with really old audiences. They're going for like viral video influencers that are appealing to people younger than me. And I don't think many people older than me have it, but there is still, of course, a gap. I'm 34 years old now. So, but those would be my 3 issues. And just the general thing that doesn't seem to have, it doesn't seem that he's asked himself, is this good or not? He hasn't thought about any of those considerations or angles.
Sure.
That's what
the other thing is your definition of a vice. So I think gambling is one, but for instance, I think the Nelk bros have their own beer.
Yeah.
And you might say that's peddling a vice, but I think they love that shit. I think they think it's awesome and fun. And so when they recommend it, you guys might have different worldviews, but they're like, get this for your parties, play beer pong with it, shotgun it.
Yeah. I don't have as big of an issue. I don't drink, but I go with that one. Your experience of alcohol, you guys, and your audience's experience is more likely to overlap.
Also, your audience's age. Like if you're a 20-year-old guy in college, you're getting Coors Light, you're getting Pabst. You might as well, if you like the Nelk Bros, get the Nelk Bros. I don't know what the label is, but it's like, you're going to drink cheap beer and play beer pong, do flip cup, and it's going to be awesome because you're in that age. And then when you're 40, you won't. You'll drink something else or stop drinking. So I feel like that, even if that's quote unquote peddling a vice, I don't personally mind that one in the sense that your worldview isn't that you're peddling a vice. Your worldview is that this is awesome. And that like they also in that age range, not inaccurately, think partying is awesome. And so, okay, just like don't try not to become an alcoholic. I think,
they were probably drinking really heavily. They're like, what's awesome? Drinking. Let's make drinking stuff. With these gambling things, my impression is somebody approached him and said, hey, we want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just trying not to lump everything they do together.
Oh, no, sorry. And even this particular guy, I'm not even like, my impression of, like I said, not evil, not mastermind, just thoughtless about, and I think that that's incredibly common. The idea that if you can do something and make money and not get put, I guess it's what the bummer is that most people's like moral floor is the legal floor. They go only slightly above and beyond what the demands of not getting thrown in jail are.
Sorry.
At least when it comes to making money.
We actually talked about this. It's the legal floor and the social floor. You know, I think that if people...
And yes, if their social group, especially if the people around them are saying that it's okay. Like, and I think...
But I'm saying if the people around you say it's not okay, that's also a pretty efficient way to stop behavior, even if it's legal.
Sure. And I don't, and I think that is very common. And I think that the reason that is not what I experienced is because I spent 4 years in a philosophy degree, constantly asking these sorts of questions. And more than saying that this is bad, you're a bad person, I wish that there was philosophy or ethical training younger in people's lives as a core part of the curriculum. And the training doesn't need to be utilitarianism, right, or this is right, but like just introducing the idea that what is allowed and what is right can be different.
Well, weirdly enough, because we talked about incentives earlier, you are incentivized not to study philosophy. At least where I grew up, you don't have it as an option at all until your senior year. And then you're given the option
Did we have an option?
We had the option of philosophy or AP psychology. And
are you sure?
And so if you're applying, I wanted to take philosophy.
Did anyone take philosophy?
If you care about getting into the best school possible, you default to AP psychology because it looks better, because it wasn't AP philosophy. So if you're trying to go to an Ivy League school like I was, you literally just you opt out. Philosophy is a non-starter. It's the same as taking music theory, like you could do music theory. But
they had AP music theory. I took AP music theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what was the one? There was something I wanted to take, but I couldn't for the same reason.
I don't know.
They have these
personal finance or something was in there.
Yeah,
too.
Maybe it was personal finance. They have these electives that you want to take that sound interesting. Even at age 16 and 17, they sound interesting, but they don't quote unquote look as good to colleges. And so if your incentive structure is just to get into the best college, that dictates your classes for you. And so you're actually, you're steered away from learning about ethics and morality, and you're steered towards whatever is weighted best on your application.
Yeah. And I wonder if some of it isn't because we were just kind of reminiscing about school the other day and how they literally like chained the doors to keep people like it is a huge component of how schools have been devised. This is based on the Industrial Revolution, put everybody in, but it's kind of like child care while people work. Like you just need to put them all in a place. It's and educating free thinking. If there's 2,000 students in a building and there's one faculty for every 30 of them or something like that, having a bunch of free thinking, question asking, hey, wait a second, who gives you the authority to say that, is not the best way to get things running smoothly. Like,
well, same thing with student debt. Everyone talks about, student debt. It's so crazy, blah, blah, blah. If you want a workforce that does jobs that aren't necessarily appealing or fun on their own, having 150 grand of debt that will have a hefty penalty if you can't pay it off is a good way to get people to go, I don't want to do this job. It's not fun, but I will do it because I basically came into adulthood strapped with debt.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's a great incentive for a society that wants people to do things that they don't enjoy, but have to get done, if that makes sense. It's not a good incentive for fulfilled, happy people who have pursued their passions in life.
I wonder, so I'm thinking through that. So it's a good incentive, I suppose, because I'm thinking about China, for instance, which seems to be a place where people do things that they might not like in order to get ahead. But I guess that's more a product of the economic realities that they face.
I don't know. I actually, to be honest, I feel like I have no possible idea what life is actually like in China. I know a lot of propaganda.
Sure.
But yeah, I have no actual idea of what people who are born and raised in China do or feel in terms of personal freedom and career.
Got it. Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.